evening, Smite Gamers, and welcome to GSL. Tonight, we're going to bring you the Harpy Division Grand Finals with the experienced Harpies versus Hati. On the desk is myself, Lana, along with Lockie, and we also have King Koopa and Spark Vera on the cast, along with the captain running production. How are you doing today, Lockie?
Very well, thank you. Excited to see what Harpy Division have to show us. Grand finals, expecting some sparks, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the set, keep in mind that experienced Harpies and Hati had not actually played against each other up until this point. Hati did
Hmm.
go into the losers bracket round one, actually falling over to Underscore, but Underscore actually ended up falling to the experienced Harpies. So 2-0s all the way for experienced Harpies, been a clean area going into it. Very interesting to see how this is actually playing out here. So keep in mind there will be a 1-0 game in the experienced Harpies' favor. Just so you guys are aware, that is why there will not be a mistake on the production side. We've seen a lot of heavy meta shifts going into patch 10.9 that have brought a lot of items and especially gods into competitive play. And there's some we haven't seen for a really long time. Are there any picks you think the teams should be going for?
Yeah, definitely a lot of meta shifts. I think Marty Chorus is probably going to be off the cards for the most part, I imagine. He got hit pretty hard, but then on the other side, I've seen a lot of Arachne in my games recently, and I think at this level, Arachne could go pretty hard. Arachne thrives in sort of less coordinated teams, and I think Arachne could go pretty big. Obviously, also is extremely strong in the early game in particular. So, if either team are looking to get a snowball going, I think Arachne might be the play.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I am probably a negative MMR jungler, you guys, and I'm telling you right now, it's jungle meta because if I'm allowed to steamroll people on jungle, it's got to be a jungle meta. So yeah, Arachne is the perfect play here. Those gooseberries start, oh, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Going into the bans here, we do have Giannis, Rat, Cobb, and Marty. What do you think of those?
Interesting. I completely understand the rat ban. It's going to be a specific target ban to Ghost Rider on the side of Haiti. Yeah, totally understand that one. The Yanis ban, I don't know the players well enough. Potentially another target ban. I don't know if it is worth a ban, but potentially could be. Yeah, interesting to see that. Marty Chorus, obviously we touched on that a minute ago, did get heavily nerfed, so maybe Haiti just not wanting to risk it, just in case the experienced Harpies do have a Marty Chorus in the locker. We see the Chernobog hover, probably one of the strongest ADCs at the moment after his buffs.
Yeah,
Prepare
100%
yourselves.
can just
Darkness
allow.
approaches.
Oh, finally, it's not the slow isn't on his dash, which made no sense to begin with, right? I
Yep.
mean, now you can actually confirm the combo together and it's actually reliable. You don't have to use his second ability now. It's just simple auto attack stim. It can actually flow and go together. So, yeah, 100% agree. Do you think this is worthy of a first pick or would you prefer something else?
I think Chernobog is fine first pick. I think everybody's still sort of figuring out the meta. In all the scrims I've done since, he has been sort of top 3 picks. So for sure.
It's
I
time to
think
turn this
Chernobog is
battle
fine.
in our favor.
Ares hovered on the other side.
Sound the
Athena,
drums
Chernobog.
of
We'll ignore the
war!
Athena for now. Ares big picks up had a pretty insane buff to his 2. With giving him sort of an attack speed aura. I can only think that's incredibly strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his 2 has been good for a while, I think, but they just keep adding things onto it, and it just makes him better and better. In my opinion, he's just, like, almost, like, similar to Fafnir
Don't you
now,
dare
and I mean,
run from
with this
me!
Izanami coming in, I mean, no one's gonna this is the lane of pressure right now. Good
Oh
luck
yeah.
for the experienced Harpies ever matching this because it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really get much
you
more
ready
pressure out of
for
a dual lane right there. So they also the Thanatos hover. I actually quite like that, just
I
to
am
counteract
coming
some
for
of that
you.
early pressure that Haiti have already drafted. Thano on the premier junglers, as soon as he hits level 5, he can kill anybody. And if anybody's low, you kind of have to play around, not being able to greed that one last wave, just in case there's a Thanarol coming out from the jungle. So
Tonight
um,
we dine in the
yeah, it's definitely something that Haiti
afterlife.
are gonna have to play and be very aware of around the early game.
Absolutely. Double executes. That's absolutely terrifying, especially as an
Yeah.
Ares. I mean, keep in mind, guys, that Ares did get a buff with his ultimate as well, and he does provide 20% mitigations. Kind of nice, but I don't know how well that's going to do with double executes. Really doesn't care with someone like Thanatos here. Almost true damage here. We see the Osiris coming in too. He got a buff, but like, is he worth picking this high up, do you think? I've seen moderate success, but nothing insane by any means.
I think Osiris can definitely work. His buffs were definitely very nice for him. I think into an Achilles, it's pretty decent as well. I'm no solo lane. I'm not going to claim to know the matchups, but I think both of them are going to be lane bullies, and I think Osiris might be able to actually win that laning match and sort of, being able to out pressure the Achilles a little bit. I might be completely wrong. I do not play solo, but who knows? But I feel like that's probably the play.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm aware of, because I also don't play solo, I mean, Achilles is not playing for lane clear at all, so I think Osiris wins that, but Achilles might have the edge of boxing, but we'll
It's
see how
time
well
to
those
turn
Osiris
this battle
picks
in
go in.
our
He did
favor.
have, like, Osiris had, like, a, 42% win rate, something even lower than that going into this last patch, so let's hope we can get to a 50%. We'll have to see. We do see Scylla Raijin coming out as well now. Huh. Interesting. Lots of
Return of the
different
Rajan
changes.
meta. Yeah, Return of the Rajan meta. He's looking quite strong following this new patch. Seen a lot of him myself, and he definitely hurts. I think he was a bit slept on last patch. I actually think it wasn't the worst. He was probably average level mid laner. But following the buffs, I think definitely help him a lot. Especially the two being able to much more easily sort of get that tablet proc if they do go for the tablet build,
These
which we've seen
immortals
so
need to
many
be
mid
taught a
laners do.
lesson.
Yeah, the tablet build's just gotta be the build on Raijin, right? Like, I can't think of anything else that would make sense
Yeah.
right now. It is the dominant build right now anyway. Looks like that Athena is coming in, if I'm correct with that as well, so that's interesting. Do you like this paired with the Chernobog, or what would you like to see instead?
It's a lot of setup. Obviously, Athena sort of thrives on engaging for the team, isn't the best at peeling, but then don't really need to peel too much when it's kind of an Ares anyway. Ares isn't going to be peeling, so you kind of just got to match that engage. Athena, I'm a firm believer that if you get the engage off as Athena, you're gonna probably win the fight. However, if you're being engaged on, you're probably gonna lose. So experienced Harpies need to be aware of that, need to play around that, and make sure that they're the ones starting the fights with the Athena taunt. Otherwise, I feel like this Ares and Sun Wukong could kind of just go crazy in the backline. I've just noticed probably an Osiris jungle.
Very interesting. We'll have to see that when we go into game. All right, well, with my last question here, looking at these two comps without looking at the players, which one do you think is coming out on top?
Good question. I'm gonna favor Haiti here. I think the Sun Wukong getting through at 10th pick a little bit criminal, but I think they have a bit of everything. They have the late game with the Scylla, they have the early game pressure, and I think
To keep you in the loop, ban
they
Thanos
could
skin we're
go pretty
remaking.
great.
Good to know. All right. That's more than an interesting perspective. Just to keep in mind here that there I'm gonna call him out here. There was a banned skin was coming in, so we will have to remake that lobby. So just keep that in mind, guys. Hold on tight, and we will be back in the next few minutes.
You said you're cool and that it's alright, but you're hiding something that don't feel right. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk. Baby, I'm not Potter, I got language. I ain't got no time to sit here angry. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk. I know sometimes I can say the wrong thing. You won't get nowhere without responding. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk. When we just talk, just talk. When we just talk, better when we just talk, just talk. Better when we just talk, just talk. You know better when we just talk, let's talk. You said you're cool and that it's alright, but you're hiding something that don't feel right. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk.
Smoked out, tongue tied, ain't letting your bitches slide. I played you, your eyes gone fucking wide. I wish I could just leave you fucking side. You an annoyance to everyone around you now. And now the two of you fuck you into? Please tell me what the fuck is going on in your broken ass mind. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, I'm back. Ice is my voice just licking my sack. Put salt into the fucking world, kinda slack. You been talking a lot of smack, but you been acting kinda whack. I got something you lack. Fat stacks a Big Mac, and your mama throwing it back, throwing it back. Smoked out, tongue tied, ain't letting your bitches slide. I played you, your eyes gone fucking wide. I wish I could just leave you fucking side. You're an annoyance to everyone around you now. Another two of you. Yo, pride the one you fucking through. Underage girls, what the fuck you into? Please tell me what the fuck is going on in your broken ass mind. Yeah. You think you hot shit, but I think not, bitch. Be switch, got me in a different pitch, bitch. Built like a fridge, only get in touch cause people wonder what is inside. Wonder what's inside, nothing cause you spread them cheeks. Why for whoever you fucking decide. You lay your pride in how many people been inside. Acting like you're 10 when your body can't directly correlate with how many fucking lied. Just straight to your fucking bone. Yeah, go the fuck home. Yeah, go the fuck home. Yeah.
Came from a broken home. I've seen so many people go. Learn to make it on my own. It's easier for me to be alone. So how are you?
Welcome back, guys, to the GSL. We apologize. Smite is giving us heck today. So let's talk about these matchups here. We saw it before. There is Ares Izanami versus Athena versus Chernobog. What do you think is going to happen in this lane? Tell me about some of the dynamics here before we go into this lobby.
Yeah, I think the duo side from experienced Harpies obviously lacks that pressure that Hati brings. You can't really match that. But I think it's going to be pretty much a stalemate lane from experienced Harpies. They're going to be playing passively Undertale, waiting to farm up, and then when they get the ability to, Chernobog's going to ult over the 2 global ultimates, well, 3 with Thanatos. They're going to be able to out-rotate for any team fight, expecting, beacons being picked up by experienced Harpies. I'm expecting early Pyromancers and Gold Furies because they just have the power to rotate to them much quicker than Hati. But on the other side, one thing that they need to be aware of is if this Chernobog does ult out of lane, Izanami is one of the premier split pushers, right? She's going to shred down those towers, so that's something that they need to be careful of.
Yeah, for sure. So with that in mind, so Hati here has that pressure. Do you think that Thanatos should show his face, or should we just let that lane go? What do you think?
I think if Thanatos is able to shut down this Izanami Ares duo lane early, I think Hati's game plan is gonna struggle. If the Izanami's behind and the Chernobog's ahead, they're gonna have a rough time going into the late game. I think. They kind pretty much put all their eggs in one basket, which is the Scylla, gonna be farming for the late game. So yeah, I think not a bad idea for the Thanatos to pay a visit to the duo lane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no reason to shut down the Scylla. It is just a ticking time bomb. I mean, she's gonna get to level 20 eventually, and then she can just carry the absolute game. And this is a Scylla's dream comp right here, right? We have pressure coming out of all lanes. Pressure of most, at least I would say, match or maybe a tiny bit behind in the jungle. And outside from that, you got the setup from Ares. This is a Scylla's dream game. Very interested to see how that's gonna go. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna hop into game 1 with the versus Hati. So King Koopa, please take that away.
Welcome to the game, everybody. I'm expecting a very exciting one today. A lot of hitting gods, and I'm here with Spark Fira. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, with new patch, new items, I'm excited to
Oh
see some
yeah.
people cooking up with some builds. I'm already seeing some interesting stuff. We see Osiris with a mannequin scepter. Mannequin's not being seen for a long time, pretty much since its inception into the game. I don't think I've seen that item get built in a serious way, at least. And I mean, any particular builds stand out to you?
So far, not really. Maybe the gem on Scylla. I don't think that is something you usually want to build. You want to have more cooldown, I would usually guess. But other than that, and besides the Mannequin Scepter, as you pointed out, I don't think there's anything new here. We do see only one side of the ADCs is going to go for that crit build, that being the Izanami, with Chernobog Rifle going for that Death's Toll. I do feel like you want to go for the crit build these days, though, so I'm liking Floof to Cute's build more, at least for now.
Yeah, the crit build has definitely been seeing a lot more play as of late. Although I have been seeing some people build crit with the Death Toll instead of going for the ornate arrow. That's what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of going for that, they go for something like a fail knot in their build, and instead go with the Death's Temper item, which boosts your basic attack power, and increased basic attack power plus crit is just it pretty much multiplies on top of itself, and ends up with you doing a lot more damage. And I mean, if we look here in the duo lane, I mean, as the casters were saying, that is just an absolute hyper pressure lane. This Ares is an Ami. There's not much you could have done to try to beat them. And I actually really like what Experienced Harpies chose to do, and they chose more of a defensive duo lane that can play for the late, rotate with their global ultimates instead of trying to contest this pressure in lane.
I mean, towards the builds as well, it would make sense to get a fail node on this Chernobog, as you said. I think you do want to always use your ult when your team is engaging, and then, getting the fail node passive is definitely going to help. So I would see that. I do feel like usually that means you can't get other items that you want to get in your ADC build, though, as we do see some scuffling around the solo lane, no kills yet. So I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. I do feel like tanks aren't that good right now, so crit builds are. That's probably one of the reasons why crit builds are so good right now. So I am hoping to see that Rifle is gonna go into something like that. Now I do want to quickly talk about compositions in general before we get into any major fights, because I think I like the Experienced Harpies draft so much more. There are so many problems I'm having with the Hati draft. First of all, the Osiris, I think, was an interesting pick for solo. His buff meant that his solo lane becomes much stronger early, but I don't think the buffs really help him at all in the jungle. Also, I feel like in the jungle you want to have some more high burst damage characters right now, like the Thanatos, for example, because you want to burst those backliners before they can kill you. And with the Raijin being really strong right now, ADCs and crit builds being really strong right now, I feel like you won't really be able to stay alive for long enough on the Osiris. And then as well, the Ares, while in general I think is a good pick, he got massive buffs, he feels really nice to play. You've got 5 CC immune ultimates on the other side. You don't have anyone else in your team that is realistically gonna pressure beads. So unless Hati are gonna play this draft really fucking well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I think Experienced Harpies just kind of they've got this.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. The Ares pick, I mean, they did top to it, so it's not like they knew what they were drafting into. And honestly, even without getting an amazing amount of value out of this Ares ult, Ares is still such a strong god because of the amount of stat bloat that he's gotten. I mean, the cooldown on his chains was reduced. He has insane damage still, as he always has had, between the fire and the chains. And then now he's 2 giving basic attack damage. And with a team like that, with like an Osai and an Izanami, like they're just gonna be melting objectives, and if Experienced Harpy isn't ready to contest these objectives when they come up, we are gonna see them fall very, very quickly. But although I do have to disagree with you about the Osiris. Osiris has been pretty bad as of recently. You're not really seeing much play at all. But before that, he was a notably good pick in the jungle and solo.
Yeah.
And with his current buffs, we were talking about ADCs being really strong, and with the current buffs now, he has 20% attack speed when his passive is up, and he also gets 20% reduced attack speed when he hits people with his 3. And so if he, let's say he ults onto an ADC, If he hits him with the ult and then tethers him with the 3, that is a 40% attack speed swing in his favor. That is more than any item in the game that you can build's worth of attack speed that Osiris just gets to have more than that ADC. And when you also factor in the anti-heal portion of his ult, that Hunter's not going to be getting any lifesteal, and I feel like Osiris, in that 1v1 is going to be able to trade him more often than not.
That is probably true. Then, if he does get the 1v1, I feel like the Raijin should be there to help, though, as you do see another gank and duo.
Blink onto the Chernobog. Chernobog immediately using ult, coming right back down into the wall. The Osiris ult comes out. Ares using his chains, but no mana. Osiris is going to fall to Ray Fool, and there's not going to be really any turnaround damage. Izanami below half HP, and this Ares is no mana. So probably just a bit of an over-engage by Osiris there. We did also see, I believe, Raijin get taken down by Scylla, and so close for the Wukong, almost executed by the Fatal Strike, getting into the Somersault Cloud just barely in time. A great gank from Thanatos, forcing out that ult, and probably going to look to fight him again. Maybe Thana waits for his ult to come up, and then rotates back in and goes for the kill.
I think, to get back to the point we were talking about before all these fights were happening, I do think Hati definitely do have a chance, especially with Scylla getting his first blood and getting ahead like that, because as the desk mentioned, I think probably a lot of the late game carry is going to come down to the Scylla, and if she can get her damage off and, really be present in those late game fights. Also, if Hati can actually make use of their early game pressure, also as said, the dual lane is it's basically going to be uncontested for Ares and Izanami. That said, that was before Osiris came in and got killed by the Chernobog, unfortunately. So I am wondering if that might just go into the direction of the experienced Harpies now as well. So yeah, I'm not writing Hati off. They do have a slight gold lead already as well. If they can just expand that and actually work with the pressure that they get from their picks, I think they do have a chance. However, the later it goes, the easier it should become for experienced Harpies. With their easier setup in the Athena and the Achilles, with the easier cleanup with the double executes, and frankly, I believe more easier damage later as well. Even though Izanami and Scylla definitely have a lot of that as well, so I guess the damage is probably fairly even. But I am a bit worried that if it goes really late, I think the experienced Harpies, they should have it.
Yeah, I think everyone talks about Thana being this sort of early game monster that's able to really, just run around and kill people for free early, which is definitely true. He does do that very well, but people underestimate how much burst potential he has in the late game as well. And when you have two characters like Scylla and Izanami, who are not particularly safe, they both have decent range leaps. Izanami's not so much, but if Thana just waits and he sees one of them use that movement ability and gets in the air, he's either forcing relics or he's getting a kill, and there really is nothing you can do to stop that, especially when you're someone like an Ares who doesn't have that immediate CC. See a small fight break out in mid here. Ooh, the Scythe is just gonna miss. The Ares ult comes out, but Athena ult and Thana beads are going to stop him from getting anything. And no really damage on either side. Oh, the fight continues though, as a stun comes out from Osai, and the crush plus Sikkim from Scylla is enough to confirm the kill. The Raijin ult comes out. Osiris and Ares are just beating on him. Is he gonna go down? Chernobog comes in as Scoot gets dropped, but now Osai is the one to fall, and just a crazy back and forth. Ares get taunted back in. The crush comes out, but it's not gonna land, and that is going to be the end of that fight. That was what a turnaround for both ends there.
In general, I'd say that goes in Hati's favor, but definitely good rotation from the Chernobog. That's exactly what was talked about before. There is just so much global pressure that the experienced Harpies technically have at their disposal. If they just use it properly, that's probably gonna work in their favor. Now, this early in the game, I feel like you might not actually want to rotate like that as an ADC, but then again, you got a kill, you're still ahead in levels, you're ahead in stacks, so that probably wasn't the wrong choice, as we do see a pull into the tower.
Ares playing a dangerous game on the tower line like that, taking a lot of damage stepping up into that taunt. But I did like the play that Ghost Rider made. We saw the Ares get the ult on 2 and force the Thana's beads, and Ghost Rider recognized that and immediately walked up to that Thana, hit him with the 3, got the stun, and then Thana fell. And now we see a gank onto Izanami here. She knows he's in the air because of the execute logo, but it doesn't matter, as he just gets to land and kill her for free. And this is a absolutely amazing start for experienced Harpies. This Chernobog was already 2 levels ahead of that Izza, and Izza's just now died. I mean, only 28 stacks on Devos, whereas Chernobog almost has it finished. And it looks like we're going to see a purple buff invade as well.
Not quite Obama, apparently enough to scare off 2 of the sort of experienced Harpies here. I don't quite understand why they would back off there, but fair enough, you don't have to risk it, you don't know where Ghost Rider is necessarily, and he does probably have more early game damage than you do on Thanatos, I would imagine, especially with the mannequins as well. You probably don't want to mess with him too much yet. I do like what the experienced Harpies are doing. They recognize, okay, this dual lane is probably where they are going to get the most pressure from. There's Izanami and the Ares, so why don't we just shut it down, as we do see another engage in mid, which I fear isn't really going to do much. But yeah, so I think the experienced Harpies are playing it well. They know where their strengths are, and they, more importantly, know where they need to stop Hati from really forming a lead.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the gold, Hati does have a gold lead, but when you look at the levels, the only one that's ahead is the Scylla, and I mean, it's pretty much even everywhere else. We have a 1-level lead for Athena over the Ares, and a 2-level lead over Chernobog for Izanami. So, gold wise, maybe not looking too great for experienced Harpies. But at the end of the day, if they're able to, like, yeah, they're ahead in XP, and that's gonna be a lot more effective earlier. Getting those levels is gonna be better for you early than, you know, just maybe a tier 1 item's worth of a gold lead, right? That 1 level gets you extra damage, it gives you extra stats. I mean, it lets you put, maybe even if you're like level 9, put an extra point in that ultimate to get that little extra damage, gets you that win in that fight. So, and I love, yeah, like you were saying, I love how experienced Harvey is playing this, really putting the pressure on in that duo lane and not letting this Izanami really get online, because Izanami is really strong early, but definitely struggles in the late game compared to other hunters. It's, you know, when she doesn't have her one ability procced, she doesn't do a ton of damage because of those halved autos, you know, because of the boomerang. You can hit multiple people, but it's not often that you're getting the opportunity to hit people like that. See an invade go down on the green buff here, but experienced Harp is able to secure it. Ares taunted in, but doesn't seem like there's going to be any follow-up from experienced Harpies. Ares ult goes in. Athena is pulled back in. Not, oh, and great peel from the Raijin ult, but the Athena dashes back in and just is going to get taken down by the Crush. And the Scylla ult comes out. Thana in danger. He gets up into the ult moments before the Scylla ult would have connected. And what do you think that Athena was thinking?
Maybe there was a bit of miscommunication. Athena thinking, yeah, okay, they've used everything they've got. I can get some more setup going for my team. Unfortunately, it does not go like that at all. Very quick dispatch of that Athena. To get back to what you said about those cleave autos of the Izanami, I think that would theoretically work if you had more beats burn, because the Ares has perfect setup for you to actually hit multiple people with your autos, as that is so much damage on the Raijin. Unfortunately, not quite enough, as the beacon is coming up as well. But yeah, it's like, I wonder if she is ever gonna get that proper good, like, 4-man Ares ult that she can just free fire into and get a lot of value on. Because so far, I just don't think she will. Ares has gotten 1 pull so far out of the 2 or 3 ultimates he's really had, and realistically, I don't think that's gonna change.
Not seeing a lot of fighting around this beacon, as it's gonna go the way experienced Harpies. I mean, Hati seemed like they wanted to step up to it, but they didn't have the manpower. Ares ult comes in, and I'm a Monster has tried to follow up, but unfortunately, Thana did have beads and was able to use it in time. But now Athena's the one in danger. Sikkim just gonna miss, even though the shell would have saved him anyways. Thana comes back down onto the Ares. Crush gonna do a lot of damage, but no kills either way. I mean, these fights are. It seems like both teams are kind of just taking these fights very lukewarm. They don't really want to commit fully, or, I mean, but this definitely ends up favoring experienced Harpies, because if Hati is not using this early pressure that they have in most of their lanes, then experienced Harpies is going to be there and ready for when they fall off in the late game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do. There was a little bit of not that well done targeting, I think, from Baby. I'm not gonna say the second part of that name. I do not know how. The Thanatos, he should have gone onto the Scylla. I do feel like there wasn't even a beats available, so that would have been a very good target to go on. But then again, you also don't want to risk feeding the Scylla more. She's already 2-0-2, level 14 up. a level, farming really well, doing a lot of damage already. So not taking the risk is alright, especially with your late game focused team, as we do see another little bit of a fight in mid lane. Obama in there.
And it's still going.
Let me get in the second monitor.
Okay, and we're back. We had some technical difficulties there, unfortunately. We're not quite able to see how that fight ended. But it does seem like experienced Harpies is still they're pretty much still neck and neck. There really isn't an advantage either way here, although experienced Harpies does have a tier 1 tower down. That is about the only advantage on the map. I do believe Hati tried to go for a Gold Fury, but it seems like they had pulled off instead. And so now all the pictures are up. Gold Fury, there's Pyro. See Ares, not too much pressure to be done on him, and we might see a small gank here in duo lane as this is going to be caught out of position. Dana stepping up, but she's going to dash. But now, like I was saying earlier, that dash is down. Dana just gets to land on her for free. The Aegis does come out, but is it going to matter? The ult silences the Thana, but it's not enough. And Chernobog is able to hit every auto. Very impressive and lock that down. But now, Raijin just getting destroyed by the I'm a Monster. Just wow. I mean, this Scylla is just running the game in mid, and it's vice versa for this Chernobog in duo lane. I mean, I think have seen very early what the carries of each team are going to be, and I really want to see both teams try to play around that.
Yeah, I do feel like this is going to be a Cherno versus Scylla in the late game here, as you said. Scylla definitely not who I would have expected to be able to solo this Raijin, especially after the buffs. Raijin feels so strong. Or at least every time I've played against him, he's just messed me up so much. Also, when he was in my team, yeah, I feel like that's just a really strong pick. I don't really see how you get soloed there as Baby is getting pushed in mid.
Ooh, lives just barely with the beadsing out the Ares ult as the tier 1 tower in mid does fall. Hati now has an excellent positioning advantage in mid, and that is going to make it a lot easier to fight around this Pyro and the upcoming beacon that will be up very, very shortly. Might see some small invades. Achilles running at this Osiris. Osiris only level 13 this far into the game. It seems like he's not been on top of his farm. I mean, Thana's not doing too well either, but I feel like he's had a bit more impact on the game. I don't think we've really seen this Osai do as much as I've wanted him to, especially being this like early pressure kind of god that's really good at just running people down.
Yeah, that is going to be very worrisome come the next 5 minutes as well. I mean, you will have to find your farm somewhere now, and if experienced Harpies played as well, they will deny that farm, though apparently they don't want to step up for his beacon just yet. Now, no, 3 are assembling, and a fight is going to hopefully break out.
The beacon's going to go if no one makes a step up. It looks like Hati was first to the punch on this one, but Athena ults in and gets a big two-man taunt. The tanks are in the backline. Osai getting forced out, but he's gonna go down to the Raijin ult. It's a huge hovering death comes down, stunning too. I'm a Monster hits the tank in execute range, but body blocked. Izanami's gonna take down the Achilles. Wukong in the air, looking for this Athena, is gonna get it. Raijin also super weak, and it looks like Hati has come out on top. Chernobog forced to use his ult for the movement speed, but Raijin's still gonna fall, and that's 4 for 1 and a beacon on the side of Hati. That was an incredible fight for them.
I mean, I think this is really all on the back of the Scylla, just doing so much damage in return to a fight that looked like it was really going the way of the experienced Harpies. Like you saw, as you said, a good ult from the Thanatos stunning to almost getting the execute, but even before that already, the kill coming out of the Raijin. Then so much damage onto the rest of the team that I thought there was going to be a second execute coming out of the Achilles. thinking that, like, okay, this is really where the strength of this experienced Harpy composition lies, just getting them all low and then having 2 executes to just clean everything up. But then there's just so much damage from this level 18 Scylla, and I think the Izanami also managed to get some good damage off that. It's just not enough.
Yeah, and Goldfear going to go the way of Hati also, and it seems like Hati has really found their stride in this game after the team fight. They've really picked up the pace now. They're looking for this invade on green, maybe. Not a lot to be done though, as most of the experienced Harpies team is there, and it seems like Pyro is next up on the menu, and it's might end up just going uncontested. Although we may see there are 4 of experienced Harpies in middle, no Chernobog to be seen, as Chernobog's getting run down right now by the Osiris. But Pyro picked up and dropped by Hati. It seems like the 2 supports are having a bit of a fisticuffs in middle there, completely ignoring both of their teams. But Chernobog still under pressure and really under siege here by this Osai Izanami. They may be looking for that tier 1 tower in left, but that does mean it is a 4v3 for experienced Harpies in right side. I would really like to see them take a fight here. Chernobog dodging the ultimate. Ooh, the Aegis comes out. Athena ult is good. The beads saves him from a silence and a stun. Now it's Athena's turn to go in. She gets a taunt on the Izza. No beads to be seen. Izza taking a lot of damage, half HP, but the Aegis comes out. Now Osai walks back in. Beads get dropped, but it seems like that was a little overzealous. I mean, he was like a quarter HP. I don't think you ever win that fight against Chernobog.
I feel like no matter how Rayful plays that, he comes out on top anyway. He's so far ahead that Ghost Rider just does not do any damage to him whatsoever. And then with the global peel coming out of the Athena that you should know the enemy team is always going to have available unless you like call it out and see that it's not there anymore. It's just, I don't feel like you're ever really going to get that kill there. Even if, I think Rayfield should have played it a bit differently, just stay under tower as well, because then he has the tower pressure as well. There was no wave anymore. He has such easy clear on that wave that this Osiris would have had to tank the tower. And if the Athena comes in then as well, you easily get probably both kills. But then even with Rayfield just running into the jungle, like I said, it doesn't really matter how he plays it. I think with the Athena ultimate available and the way that experienced Harpies team is playing it, there is no way he'll ever really die to a gank like that. And then Ghost Rider, unfortunately, not really noticing that the fight is probably over and you should probably just back off, running back in. But then again, you don't lose much if you're dying as Ghost Rider right now. You're so far behind. Then again, there is a fight on Pyromancer.
Ooh, Chernobog ults in but gets immediately knocked up. The Ares ult hits 2. Chernobog gets in the wall. I'm a Monster secures the Pyromancer. Stana comes down on the Scylla. Beads Aegis used. Lord of the Afterlife comes out. A massive crush deals insane damage. The execute is good, and it takes down the carry of Hati. Achilles still in his backline getting chained, but ults out just in time. Wukong comes down, stops the Athena's back. Wukong used everything to get in, as now as he can be able to get out, but he turns a kill onto Thanatos. Raijin ult is good for the disengage, and it definitely wasn't a terrible fight for either team, but I do think Hati came out on top there.
Getting the Pyromancer, they for sure did. I felt like the fight that is now continuing.
Oh, yeah, the fight is still going. Beads comes out of Izanami. This Achilles really getting up in there. I would love to see them go for this tier 1 tower, and that is exactly what they're going to do. Wukong, below half HP, not able to contest at all. And that tower is going to go down for experienced Harpies. And, I mean, they might not be taking the best end of the trades in these fights, but they're definitely not coming out as bad as it could be either.
I mean, they are only, what, 1.5k behind now, getting that tier 1. But yeah, very scrappy fight before that, which I feel like they go on for way too long. Also, if I saw that correctly, experienced Harpy fought a 4v5 for the most of that, as Scoot was back in base. Still getting 2 kills is very impressive. An execute coming out from the Achilles as well. Shutting down that Scylla is very important. But then just keeping the fight going for so long that the Sun Wukong could re-engage and clean up 2 kills of his own, meaning that experienced Harpies didn't really stand to gain much from that fight after all. Now Gold Fury is up, and Hati Day stands to pressure that as well. With Achilles being all the way in the right lane, I feel like it might be a bit hard for the Harpies to contest this one. Scylla is here as well. Scylla does have an ultimate to secure as well. So I do feel like that is probably a free Gold Fury for Hati.
It seems like experienced Harpies is split here. They do look for the steal. Hati is able to secure. Athena gets a pretty good taunt in there, but no damage really is going to follow up. And it seems like Beacon is also going to go. But Athena goes in and misses the ult onto the Ares. Might have been a kill if he had predicted that blink. And it seems like experienced Harpies is also really not willing to play for this Beacon. I feel like before that, they should have. Seems like there was a bit of a miscommunication. I feel like if you grouped 5 on one of those objectives, you would have been better off than being as split as they were, with a couple people looking to the beacon and then a couple more looking to contest the gold. But we see a blink in from this Achilles, burn blink, and a massive
Really
taunt from
crappy.
Athena. Does a huge amount of damage. Achilles misses the taunt. I'm Monster only connects on Athena. Chernobog gonna go down to a crush, and Athena down to Izanami. Chernobog gets up in the air. Is he gonna follow? Yes, he's gonna follow the Izanami. The ult comes out, just barely missing him. Not able to get the kill, but he does keep himself alive. This fight's still continuing as there's a lot of low HP targets on the side of Hati. Osai gets dropped to 1, taken out by the Achilles 3. Scylla dashes in. She gonna be able to kill the Raijin? No, the stun from the Achilles is good. Wukong is still in this. No mana, but is able to take down Raijin with just autos, and now it's Achilles versus Wukong. Is there gonna be a kill? It doesn't seem like it.
That is so unfortunate. Scoot would have definitely lived if he had chosen to, well, fear instead of taunt. Unlucky, it does happen. I've seen it before. I've probably done it before, so no hard feelings there. But really, these fights are all on the back of Speed of Sound. He's playing his crushes so well because experienced Harpies, for some reason, they want to group up all the time, which also makes sense. You've got these massive Athena taunts. A 3-man taunt on that beacon fight means you have so much damage on one area. But then again, if you group up and the Scylla is not in that taunt, she's gonna return the favor just as much as you could ever do on those 3 people that were taunted. So it's really kind of difficult for the Harpies here, how they want to play these fights. If you do want to follow up on the taunts, of course, that's like your main engage. You need to follow up on those. But then that leaves Speed of Sound to just honestly utterly destroy anyone that is trying to follow up that does not have much range damage. Then again, a very scrappy fight. Hati probably coming out of top now, going for the Pyromancer as well. They just have the secure.
Ooh. Another great taunt as Experienced Harpies gets the steal. I think that was an Oboe proc that might have stolen that one. Forcing the Wukong to go into the Somersault Cloud. Another crush comes down, hits Athena. And it doesn't seem like Hati really wants to take this fight, but Ares goes in, hits, gets an ult on 2, pulls none though as he gets executed by OVC. And now this is looking like a great fight for Experienced Harpies as they chase him down. Achilles blinks in, gets a stun on Wukong. This Wukong has no ult and gets executed very quickly. Banna now up in the air. Looks like they're going to be pulling back and going for this Fire Giant, and I actually love that call.
This is where the difficulty in playing Ares is coming a little bit into play, even with the 20% mitigations that you get on your ult now. If you misposition like that, you are still probably just dead. Yeah, sure, you had 2 people on your chains that you could have pulled, but even if you did pull them, who is realistically going to follow up?
Bomb used to secure, but it didn't. Still not able to get there in time. Now, he's in danger. He dashes into the fire pit. There's still follow-up to be had, but this Chernobog is getting absolutely melted by this Osai, but the peel is good, and you might have been able to win that 1v1, but the 1v5 is not looking good in your favor.
It really doesn't. I don't really know why Ghost Rider keeps taking these awkward fights where he is alone against at least 2 or 3 people. It is not proving very helpful for his team, that's for sure. He's still decently far along his build. I do think that is due to Hati's... Well, they had a gold lead now after this Fire Giant. The Harpies have actually taken that back, and they are probably looking to pressure at least all tier 2s now with this first Fire Giant of the game. So I'm just worried where this Osiris is gonna go. I'm gonna be honest. I think the Scylla is doing really well. Izanami, it's not the best showing as she's lost the early game pretty hard, but she's there. She does damage. It's fine. The Ares, even though there were some positioning errors, the ult is still good, even at least enforcing some ultimates in a bad position for the Harpies. But this Osiris just, I don't quite know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, he really needs to be more methodical about these dives instead of initiating himself. I think he needs to be waiting for his solo laner, this Wukong, to really start those engages for him, because once people dump that kit on the Wukong, I feel like that's when he has his time to shine. You know, after this Raijin has used his kit, after, you know, maybe Chernobog has used his dash to get away from Wukong, that's when Osiris is really going to be able to get in there and just absolutely cook people. Because if sorry, my voice cracked there. If he has the opportunity to 1v1 anybody on the Experienced Harpies team, he's going to win. Like that is just a winning fight. The problem is forcing a situation where that's possible.
I think I agree. You probably need to have a very good engage from your Ares and probably Sun Wukong as well to maybe single out either the Chernobog or the Raijin. Maybe after they've used their dash, maybe after they've used some relics or something, some a little bit, yeah, like I said, singled out. Then you can probably easily pick them off because you're still really good in those 1v1 scenarios, as you said. But it's just not really happening. The Harpies are grouping up very well, pressuring tier 2s now as well. The soft defense coming from Hati, and Harpies seem to be a bit too scared to step into that for now.
They do look like they're a bit scared to step in. I mean, maybe they're just waiting on some cooldowns. Not much cooldowns to wait on though. The wave is coming up. Will this be the time when they decide to step in? The wave gets cleared by Raijin. The wave is in now. Achilles walks in. Chernobog is able to auto, and it seems like Hati had a half-hearted defense there as they back off, and Experienced Harpies moves on to the next tower, and it seems like we're going to be seeing that dance once again. The Chesters are going to be taken by Experienced Harpies. No comeback mechanics for Hati to take advantage of here. But we see the tanks getting caught out in this tower here. Two-man top for Athena, but he's getting absolutely melted, and the Ares ult comes out, catches the Achilles as well. This is looking disastrous for Experienced Harpies. The Fatal Strike is able to get him out. Wukong almost falling before he gets into the ult there. But Experienced Harpies lose their Athena and decide it's time to get out. And I think I mean, I have to agree with that call.
Yeah, I mean, Hati also played it completely correctly there on a tier 2 defense. You want to soft defend it, try to throw some damage out, poke a bit if you can, but no need to commit anything because you are at a major disadvantage with that Fire Giant buff being around the waists of all 5 members of the Harpies. But then at the wave from left tier 2 to mid tier 2, there was just a bit of separation on the side of the Harpies with Raijin and I believe the Thanatos deciding to do a back camp instead of helping their tanks, which, well, engaged too early then as well, leading to them being singled out. And that is where we said Osiris comes back into it, and he did get the second kill for himself. And that means, as you said, Experienced Harpies, they will probably have to fight for this next Fire Giant. There is a Pyromancer up, which Hati could probably go for. They do still have the much superior Secure in that Scylla. And, I mean, Speed of Sound has been playing it very well as well, so I do think Hati could probably look at pressuring some objectives, as we do see a little bit of a group up around this Pyromancer.
It seems like both teams are starting a miniature fire dance, as the only objective up is Pyro. See some poke coming out, but a massive crush forces the beads out of the Raijin. Achilles has Ares has a big ult. The Fatal Strike stops him from getting pulled, but Athena's in a terrible spot now and just gets burned down. Wukong ults in. It seems like this is looking really bad for Experienced Harpies. Thana's getting caught out by a chain. He gets into the Hovering Death and is able to escape. A huge Lord of the Afterlife roots too and reduces the healing. Raijin using his ult for peel, but it doesn't seem like any of them are connecting. And now it seems like Hati is going to be able to just get this Fire Giant for free almost.
It is definitely going to be for free. I think the only one that could try stepping up is probably, yeah, Rayful right now, who is just pushing for that beacon instead. But Hati not going for big fire. They just want this Pyromancer then pressure beacon, which is fair enough, I guess. Though I think this EFG would have been a lot more helpful. But yeah, hey, it's fine. Very interesting fight though. I think this was the first time, honestly, that
we see a blink in from Achilles, and Ares gets immediately executed. I love the aggression coming out from Experienced Harpies. Osai in a bad place, but the Crystallized Curses is gonna miss. Sickums halts the Achilles' forward momentum, and it seems like the fight is pretty much over. Beacon's still up to be captured, and Experienced Harpies, I mean, they got what they came looking for.
Just a constant back and forth. First, it's Hati winning a fight and looking like they've got the game under control again. Decide not to go for a Fire Giant, leaving themselves open for another comeback from the Harpies, who are now looking at this Oni Fury, which is also fair enough. In the game before that, like I said, I think that was the first time we really saw Obama's ultimate paying off. I do feel like the Harpies could have probably fought back if they had just recognized, okay, our Athena is not going to be able to stop that ultimate. We just have to full on engage, but they didn't. We do see Hati now going for a cheeky pull on the Fire Giant. However, not enough damage there. And with Ovaisi around the corner as well, there's just no need to risk it here, as we are approaching the time of the game where everyone is getting
not a good spot for Rayful, but most of the kit is going to miss for Speed of Sound. That could have been disastrous if Rayful gets caught out there. He does have relics, so you might not have died, but not having those relics at your disposal for the actual team fight would have been really bad, and it could have honestly led to Harpies losing the game there if if Rayful wasn't able to dodge those, to be honest. We see 5 grouped for Hati around this Fire Giant, and Experienced Harpies is a bit slow on the come up. Rayful in not a great spot right now, pretty separated from his team. It doesn't seem like Hati's able to notice that, or are able to take advantage of that. So he's gonna get out scot-free, and we now see 5 on both sides, except for Osiris in middle lane defending that tier 2 tower. Neither team wanting to take the first step of the dance. Instead, they're just standing around waiting for something to happen. I would really want to see one of these teams be proactive rather than reactive, because I mean, strike first and you shall win, I guess. I mean, that's how these fights have been going. Most of the time, the people who have engaged first have really been coming out on top, but it seems like neither team, but as I'm saying it, Ares blinks in, pulls out beads and an ult from that team. The crush is good, and this Athena is just getting absolutely burned. I'm a monster just off the mark. Osiris ups down with Lord of the Afterlife. He's executed by Thanatos. It's 1 for 1, but it's not looking good for Hati. His low health bars across the board. Thana gets another, but he's taken down by an absolutely amazing crush from Speed of Sound. And now it's 3 versus 3. And Experienced Harpies does still have their Chernobog, who's really been pulling his weight plus then some this game. So it seems like Hati is the one to back off first, as both teams look to reset and play around for the next Fire Giant dance, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, that means we're just kind of waiting those 40 seconds until both teams are fully up, and then we're gonna repeat the same process again. Unfortunate for the side of the Harpies. I feel like they've reacted to the A result really well, just no one getting pulled. But then again, there was not that much pressure after the fact. I think Avery's always kind of has to put himself out of position to get a good ultimate. Though Hati did follow up on it well, even though there was no pull, so he wasn't even that out of position. But I feel like the Harpies could have engaged a bit harder after that. Instead, they just kind of let their front line go in and die again. Which is fine, as you then got the kills. After that, you get a nice execute. You get some more good damage on Floof 2 Q'd. But in Speed of Sound, he's just hitting his stuff, and that sick him into the crush combo onto Baby. It was just too good to, keep that fight going afterwards. And that means, yeah, we're right back to square one. I did want to talk about ADC builds real quick, because I just noticed neither of them have gone for crit, which is kind of a fail in my opinion. But, I mean, definitely for Rayful, it's been working. He's, as you said, pumping out those numbers, easily topping the player damage charts. While I think the build out of Floof to Cute is a bit less so good.
Yeah, it does seem like Floof is really overcapping on attack speed with no Silver Branch in sight to take advantage of it. But we do see the Ares ult come out, forces the Achilles ult, but I gotta say, that is a very good trade for Experienced Harpies. I feel like they would much rather lose the threat of that Ares ult than have, the Achilles execute for their own, because that Ares ult has so much more potential to ruin a team fight. So I would love to see Experienced Harpies go in now, and it seems like Thanatos is exactly on my wavelength as we see a taunt attempt from the Athena. Hati is pretty much playing on the back foot right now without this Ares ult. Not going to be up for a while. Athena in a bit of a bad position here, gets chained and stunned. The Osiris is trying to follow up, but it seems like they've overextended. Osiris ults out on 1 HP. This Sun Wukong clone is zoning 3 members of Experienced Harpies. Chernobog ults in to their backline, is able to take down the Osiris. Now the follow-up and the rest of his team comes in. This Wukong with no ultimate gets executed by Thanatos. This looks like it's going to be the ending fight, as Izanami gets burned by the Raijin ult, and he's going to fall too. Now Speed of Sound in a bad spot as he gets silenced, but the Death Scythe is a miss. That might have been the game if he hit that Scythe. Oh, man.
That means Harpies turn around Fire Giant. That was really all on the back of Rayful this time. The disrespect and the damage that he's putting out was like insane. 3 people thinking like, oh yeah, this is an easy kill into Athena. Again, she's out of position, get her. But then Rayful was just standing behind her like, yeah, okay, I mean, if I put all your damage into her, I'm just gonna do my thing and basically one-shot well, not one-shot all of you, but like pump out easily enough DPS to kill all of you within the next 5 seconds. And that's what he did. He got at least the Osiris into one-shot range and the rest of the team to back off, which made it so much easier for the rest of the Harpies to engage, getting this Achilles into the backline, which unfortunately didn't get the kill onto Ghost Rider, but did manage to push him further back, leading to him being killed anyway late game, or later on. And that means now the Harpies are pushing the first Phoenix of the game getting it easily as well, backing off to the mid tier 2. I think the right choice of
There's
going here,
Gold
you've
Cat
got the
only a
EFG.
Pina, but the Defender Olympus is gonna save him just barely. I would love to see them go for this Phoenix as well. They do have EFG. They're 5-man strong. Oh, but we
Yeah.
see a lot of damage come out onto Oversea as he's forced to Fatal Strike out. But now Wukong is the one low, and so is Floof Too Cute. And now I think is the time where they really need to look in here, but their tanks are super weak as Athena gets taken down by the Ama Monster. Osiris ults in, Raijin's taken down by a Crush. Wukong looks for the stun on Rayful, but it's not gonna happen. Oh, no execute coming out on 2 available targets, but Thana chooses to play for his own life instead of theirs. Probably a smart call there. I might not have made that one myself. I might have been blinded by the execute and just murder in my eyes.
I mean, with the correct communication, I feel like going back in would have been the right choice. You still have a full HP Rayful who is hitting like a truck. I think you could have turned that around and gotten 3 kills probably off those. If he gets that execute and the double stun on the other 2, and Rayful is around the corner, I feel like it's an easy triple kill. A little bit of a missed opportunity. Then again, playing it safe is also not the worst thing in the world. You got at least a tier 2 and 1 Phoenix. Unfortunate that you couldn't get more with this EFG, which is probably going to be running out now before you can effectively push again. Then again, Yaman and Scoot are going to be back up in just about 10 seconds. If you can straight away push for some more Phoenixes, you could probably get them, but I think the Harpies are just going to focus on this Gold Fury, extend their lead to get some 3k pods, I suppose. Not really much else to play for anymore, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get this Primal Fury, which is going to be pretty non-detrimental. I mean, it's a Primal Fury. It'll give them some better objective shred, but at this point in the game, that shred is not going to matter that insane amount because most of the time, if you're playing around that Fire Giant, the enemy team is probably also there, and if you're able to get it safely, then you've probably killed them all already. So I don't think that objective shred is not as important as it might have been earlier in the game, but they're going to go ahead and grab it. A little extra gold in your pocket, you know. But now they're looking. They still have EFG on two of their damage dealers. Most importantly, Rayful. So they still might look to get in on this Phoenix, but it seems like they're just hanging out. Maybe they're looking to see if they can grab a pick. We see Baby Youngvik playing in the mid lane here. Maybe gonna try to put some pressure on that Phoenix. The ADC dashes to the right to try to clear some fire waves. Now would be the chance if ever if they wanted to go in here. Izanami is in right lane. Thana, I mean, Scylla's matching Thana in the middle, but the Ares is the one to engage as he blink ults 3. Achilles ults in, but with no execute. Scylla is forced to use Beads Aegis on the Thana ultimate. Thana in a bad spot. Wukong gonna whiff the ult on him, so it dashes in. Wukong goes for Tiger, but misses it all. Rayful is just pumping out damage into this team, doing an insane amount of damage, and he's just gonna kill everybody. He gets a double. And now I think they're gonna be looking at the bird, and they might be looking to end the game here. As Rayful gets a triple onto the Scylla, and that should be the game. I mean, you have a game with you have a tank with 3/4 health and a Rayful who is doing all of your damage. I mean, Wukong goes in on Raijin, but gets immediately taunted in CC chain, and a quadra for Rayful. Sorry, he's gonna secure the game. What an absolute banger of a game that was.
Yeah, that means experienced Harpies go up 2-0 with the first game they got from being in the winner's bracket, but that means that is it for us on the cast. We're going to throw it back to the desk to break it down further.
What a game coming out of the experienced Harpies. Very back and forth, and definitely not what I think we were both expecting here on the desk. I mean, yeah, it was very pick oriented, and I think you would have been more faith than I did, Lockie. But I mean, was a bit closer than we were expecting, though, for such a dominant run that they had coming up into the finals here. So, what do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely looked a little bit shaky at times, but I feel like that game was just the Rayful show. You know, it's at 11-0. Chernobog just went a little bit silly there. Felt like he was untouched most of the game, despite actually ulting into multiple members of Hazy and just then killing them all. No cares in the world. Yeah, really, really good display. 62k damage there from Chanabok. Had absolute barn burner either. Just went crazy.
Yeah, shout out to the ADC on the side of the experienced Harpies. I mean, 62k untouched, really just didn't have that difficult of a game at all. And I mean, definitely showing why the first pick for Chernobog did come out. I was a little skeptical. You weren't. And as per usual, I shocking, guys. Never would have that. Going into the next game, what would you like to see Hati clean up?
So I think there's a few things maybe look to adjust. Izanami, whilst I like the pressure that Izanami and Ares should have brought, I think Rayful obviously it's such a dominant ADC. Clearly, that maybe Izanami is not the pick. You're not going to get that early pressure because we didn't really see Izanami have a lead. So maybe going towards one of the late game ADCs is maybe the play. Just try and stalemate that lane. Maybe try and pick the channel back up yourself as well. Ghost Rider, don't think he had a bad game on the Osiris, but maybe going for something with a little bit more safety. I saw a few times just getting caught out or sort of getting stuck in and getting the damage off, but lack of follow up or poor timing on the engage meant that he would fall. So yeah, not the prettiest of slash lines for Ghost Rider. So maybe look stay away from the Osiris. Maybe stick it in solo lane. I think it's pretty strong there. So maybe get a traditional assassin that has more burst potential.
Put Osiris and Izanami on the tippity top of that shelf. All right. I like that idea. More safety in those picks. Yeah. Definitely can see where you're going with that. All right.
Mm.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll see you guys right back in game 2 right away. Thank you.
You say that you're cool and that it's alright, but you're hiding something that don't feel right. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk. Baby, I'm not Potter, I got language. I ain't got no time to sit here angry. You know life is better when we just talk. When we just talk, let's talk.
Smoked out, tongue tied, ain't letting your bitches slide. I played you, your eyes gone fucking wide. I wish I could just leave you fucking side. You an annoyance to everyone around you now. And now the two of you, your pride, the one you fucking through. Underage girls, what the fuck you into? Please tell me what the fuck is going on in your broken ass mind. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, I'm back. I see small voice just licking my sack. Puzzled into the fucking world, kinda slack. You been talking a lot of smack, but you been acting kinda whack. I got something you lack. Fast as a Big Mac, and your mama throwing it back.